A while ago on this channel, we revealed that Dallas Jenkins would be in Season 5 of The Chosen as a Roman soldier, but we didn't know exactly where. But the funny thing is that all of us, probably you too, have seen this cameo already in the trailer for The Chosen Season 5. I didn't know this at all, but it was revealed to us by our friends over at the Brosen, of course, the people who make The Chosen behind the scenes. And let's check out their podcast and talk about this behind the scenes moment that we're going to be looking out for in Season 5. So here we go.
So, man, Sam, watching that teaser, which frame, which image, which moment stuck out to you the most?
Well, I'll say the very first thing and get it out of the way. This shot right here of the Romans standing amongst the burning rubble is a little someone that we like to call Palace Jenkins. Have you guys?
So he's joking around with his name. They will confirm later on that yes, they are talking about Dallas Jenkins. So this Roman soldier right here that we see in the trailer is actually Dallas. And there's a lot more to go along with this. We're going to talk about how we knew this ahead of time, what we've been looking for, but the fact that we can't see his face makes it kind of hard for us to determine if this was Dallas or not. Maybe we should have done some more deep dive into like his scarf and what he's wearing, but all the Roman soldiers kind of wear the same thing. So it was really hard for us to confirm if this was Dallas or not, but now we know. So let's watch the rest of this.
Has ever heard of the Palace Jenkins?
You mean Palace Jenkins?
I don't know about Palace Jenkins. I've heard of Wallace Finkins, but I've never heard of.
Yeah. Well, is anybody else want to literally now go write a script called The Roman and use this as our source material?
This is a pretty darn legit. I feel very proud of actually this image because this scene, Dallas literally came to me on set and I was asking about it in prep. I was like, what are we doing for this moment? Because this is going to be a huge thing. I don't want to spoil what it is, but.
So we're going to talk about what I think it is in a little bit. So just hold on, but let's watch the rest of this section here.
I was like, what do you want to do? Because it doesn't involve any of our cast members. It's all just background. And he was like, whatever you want. He literally turned to me and was like, whatever you want. He was like, do whatever you want to do with this scene. And I was like, okay. And here we are with this explosive, crazy, huge scene moment here.
So that's Dallas?
Fun thing about that's Father Dallas. So the thing about Palace Jenkins is that in all of his previous projects, he's had a cameo. So if you go back to all of Mr. Jenkins's projects in the past, that's what I'm supposed to call him, Mr. Jenkins. He's always had a cameo, but obviously because he's a white 6'5" monster of a man, he can't cameo on The Chosen.
Yeah, it would be very strange for him to be a part of the Jews, right? He always knew that if he was going to do a cameo, it was going to be as a Roman, but he wasn't sure if he was even going to do a cameo in the show at all. At least that's what he told us early on with The Chosen. But now, obviously, we see that he is in the show here. Really quickly, before we continue on, let me show you kind of, where this comes from. I actually have a photo here of Palace Jenkins. Let me pull it up real quick. We have this photo here. Hey, real quick, before we get back to the video, if you want extra content, behind the scenes stuff that we don't put on YouTube, you can go over to SnipesSupport.com and help us by pledging $5, $10, or $25 a month in order to help us to create more content just like this. We've got a bunch of stuff over there, including weekly live streams that are unedited, unfiltered, just for you guys to check out and be a part of over there. And of course, it's an amazing community where we have conversations all the time about The Chosen Season 5 or other shows that are coming out, or even our Israel trips, the next one coming in 2026. So if you want to check out all that stuff over there and be part of our community, we would really appreciate the help, and it would be amazing to have you over there. Anyway, link in the description down below. Let's get back to the video. We have this photo here that was released, and I kind of blocked out the name. I don't want this person to get in trouble for leaking this, but we see at the bottom here, it says, Epic Night of Filming. Our creator/director, Dallas Jenkins, fulfilled his Roman soldier fantasy with this evening. I have a lot of love and respect for this man. I will find the words for this experience one day, but for now, I will just say grateful. So that's Dallas there in his Roman garb for this scene in particular. And so we're seeing it's the same outfit that we're seeing here, the same helmet, the same armor, which again is kind of similar to all the other armor that we've seen in The Chosen for the Romans in recent seasons, especially season 4 and season 5. The soldiers' armor has gotten more kind of uniform in what they're doing. And so, yeah, we see Dallas there, but let's continue with the Brosen here, giving us some more background.
Until now, we can't say what the scene is, but that shot of the Roman is Palace Jenkins. And that was one of the most uncomfortable days on set I've ever had. Seeing my father in Roman gear, not directing the scene, and Adam sort of directing the scene was a very, very strange day for me.
Mitch directed this scene.
I'm legally required to say that Adam directed the scene, or else I'll be fired off the team.
Oh my gosh.
Listen, Adam called action and cut on it. Your boy Mitch Hudson worked with the stunt team, background, and everyone for hours to make this scene happen.
That's true, but I think Adam and I could make a case that I directed some of the scene.
Well, it was kind of a collaborative thing, obviously, because we didn't have a director for it. Genuinely, like it was like I said it. Because
that's interesting. I've always wondered how that works when a director is in the shot. Like, for example, I think of like Peter Jackson with Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit films. Like, he's always in there in some form in one of the scenes. So obviously he's not directing for that scene. So I always wondered how that kind of works. And I guess here there wasn't a specific director placed for that scene. And so they were just kind of all working together to make sure it happened. Obviously, Mitch being part of the assistant director team, Adam kind of leading that, running, roll and cut and action, and Willie obviously being part of that as well. But it's interesting to see that kind of collaboration happening here.
Dallas was like, he actually turned to me, he was like, you just do whatever you want because there's no actors in it. And then, of course, he made the decision, I'm going to be in it too. And so it was like, okay, great. So I worked with the stunt coordinator throughout the entire day leading up to it, worked with the visual effects team, worked with the special effects team, worked with all these people to figure out, okay, where are the explosions going to happen in this scene? The only thing I didn't do is, of course, anything with what is the actual shot, because, of course, that's all Akis. And that was kind of pre-planned with Akis and Dallas.
So some hints that he's giving us here is this is a shot that has no other actors in it, no other like primary actors. You can obviously see Dallas is in here as the main Roman there, and also in the corner over here, you can see that there's another Roman kind of cowering behind that. So we know that there's a couple of actors obviously in the shot, but they're not prominent actors. Nobody has lines. This is just an action sequence. So keep that in mind for when I talk about what I think this scene actually is.
They knew what the shot was going to be, what they were doing with all that. So I wasn't really... It was still directed by Dallas and Akis in terms of it being, hey, this is what we need the scene to be, what the shot to be, all that kind of stuff. But all the individual elements in the scene, I set up and created with the stunts and with the background actors, and it was a lot of fun. It was very honestly cool. The wildest day I think I've had on set, and dude, I enjoyed doing it.
And it was cool because special effects came in too and was basically like, well, what if we did this? What if we blew this up and we send this across? And I was like, Mitch and I would be like, well, yeah, Dallas would do whatever. So special effects are like, well, can we do this? Yeah, do it. And so they just had more explosions, more stuff. So it just kept adding. So,
yeah, it looks like there's a lot of explosions. They've released the behind the scenes of like one or two of these explosions, and Dallas himself has like showed us some of them from behind the scenes. But yeah, interesting. We haven't seen this obviously in its entirety yet, just small snippets.
Dallas was like, I love it. So
would you say this is probably the most like special effects the Chosen's used to date so far, or like from previous scenes?
All at once, certainly. Yes. Yeah. For everything happening all at the same time, yeah, for sure.
For our audience at home, yet again, special effects and visual effects are two different things. So special effects is stuff that happens on set. So on set explosions, and it's all practical, and you actually get to do it like in the moment and not add it in later.
Like that's
visual
real
effects,
fire.
Like stuff like blues. Yeah, that's real fire.
Well, some of it special effects. This is special effects. This is visual effects.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff in the background that definitely is visual effects. For example, like the Holy of Holies that you see above the court there, just barely, like right up here, you're seeing like the building of the Holy of Holies and stuff. That all is special effects because that doesn't exist on this set. Yeah.
So you'll see... So visual effects are stuff that we add in later. So our blue screens, green screens, just CGI shots, those are what we call visual effects, and we add those in later. But a lot of stuff that we're talking about is special effects on the day, and this is truly the only thing that I'm good for on this podcast. So I'll now go first.
That's not true.
Sam.
That's not true, Sam.
That's not true, Sam.
All right,
Sam, you have good ideas. You have good ideas.
This was a great idea, Sam. We may not be able to use any of this, but it was a great idea.
Anyway, moving on, after they mess with Sam, they go back to it a little bit later on, and Sam talks a little bit deeper about this scene here, and actually shows us a video from on set when they were shooting this scene as well.
And Sam, your favorite was the explosion.
His daddy. His favorite was his daddy.
I would say that's probably my favorite shot because of like I was on set, and we can pull up this video that my PA Anna took of us both reacting to the explosion at the same time.
You actually hear a lot of voices here. So there's way more people in this scene than we have seen previously. So maybe it's a bit longer than we originally thought. We thought that this scene was going to be really, really short, maybe even just a flash of a scene. Looks like this is going to be longer than we thought, kind of going through and looking at this here, reacting to it. So there's one of the explosions.
That's my dad.
Another one there.
Being there, feeling the heat of the actual fire, it's for sure one of my favorite nights on set. And I love shots like this. The fact we get to do it on a show like The Chosen, something I never thought we would do and something that we can't really talk about yet. That was a pretty surreal and cool moment. So
what I think that this is, to kind of, wrap things up here, obviously really, really cool that Dallas is going to be in the show. I think it's going to be a great moment. I don't think it's going to be a huge major, like, the camera is set on him and it's like focus on his face sort of thing. I think he's just going to be in the scene and we're going to have to catch when he's in it. But overall, here's what I think that this is. I think that this is the destruction of the temple in 70 AD. So Jesus, during the end of his life, he talks about how the temple will be destroyed. And of course, he's talking about himself. He says the temple will be destroyed and then I will raise it up in 3 days, essentially. He's talking about himself being resurrected after he's crucified. However, there is also talk about the temple itself being destroyed and how there's no stone that will be left on the Temple Mount. Now, this does actually happen. This happens in 70 AD. This is the destruction of the temple by the Romans. They come in during this Jewish uprising and they just destroy the entire temple piece by piece, take it all down and just, the whole thing's gone. They kill a bunch of people and of course they take a bunch of people captive. They do the Roman thing, they kind of make sure that there's not going to be an uprising anymore. Tell these people exactly who's in charge. So that's what happens in 70 AD historically. And Jesus references those things. So I think they're going to intersperse it. If they don't do like a full scene on its own, I think it'll be interspersed with some of Jesus's dialogue talking about this kind of stuff. Or maybe it's just the opener for an episode, which would be another really great opener for one of these episodes for sure. So, yeah, we'll keep tabs on it, see if I'm right or not. I do think that's what it is. I don't think there's going to be anything during the time of Jesus, during the Passover week that would fit with this. So I do now think that this is definitely the destruction of the temple in 70 AD. If you have some other thoughts, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear them. And of course, we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.